Well, 4 years on from the earthquakes, the New Zealand Red Cross is targeting disillusioned Canterburyans. A series of seminars have been launched to help anyone still struggling to cope. Marcus Gibbs explains.
4 years on from this terrible day, how far have Canterburyans come? Christchurch is rebuilding, structures have been demolished, and more are going up in their place every day. However, the New Zealand Red Cross says the city hasn't recovered. Buildings are still broken, and so too are a lot of people. The Red Cross is launching a new initiative called Recovery Matters to teach about the effects the Christchurch earthquakes have had on people. The 45-minute to 4-hour-long workshops have been designed by disaster recovery experts to help those still struggling to move on and adapt in this new version of Christchurch.
The workshops deal with what we refer to as the psychosocial aspects of recovery. So we're looking at how people are thinking, how they're feeling, and the kind of connections that they're making in their lives.
Already 150 people have taken part, with 1,000 expected by the end of the year. Some of the topics covered include the process of recovery, people's responses to a disaster, providing support to those in need, and handling stress.
It's really tempting at this stage to think that we should be over it. But what we know from research done with other communities internationally that have experienced disasters is that the emotional and psychological and social impacts of emergencies can go on for around 7 to 10 years.
A large amount of Canterburyans is still experiencing what the Red Cross is calling a disillusionment stage, following the results from the latest All Right survey.
27% of people were struggling, and so that's still, 1 in 4 people in Canterbury who are in that situation.
Like an aftershock, people are still being affected to this day, even if they don't realise it.
Where they're affected and where they may not believe that they're affected is where the structures and the rituals and the routines of life have actually been stripped away from them.
This is because Christchurch's landscape is vastly different now to what it was like pre-quake. The local library, pools and favourite cafes may no longer exist, and friends may have been red zoned. They might have since moved to a new city.
The question is were they affected? I would say yes, they are, quite significantly, because the things that gave their life meaning, that become part of the rich fabric of their life, have been stripped away. Insurance
companies and EQC staff members have been affected by dealing with clients. It's a stressful job, and already 12 staff members have experienced the seminar. Recently, journalist Olivia Carville reflected on her emotional experience covering the aftermath of the earthquake. Since then, journalists covering the rebuild have been dealing with serious issues on a day-to-day basis.
The interesting thing about it for me was that she was impacted. And I think it doesn't matter what role you're in, whether you're a journalist or whether you're working in some other helping role, one of the issues that we have is that often those who are helping with recovery are in recovery themselves.
The seminars will run until June 2016, and it's hoped they'll have a positive effect on Christchurch's disillusioned residents. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.